Shalom friends, this is Rabbi Kesselman from Chabad of Frisco, and I want to share with you a quick thought on this week's Torah portion. So let me begin by asking you a question. Should a person look to those that have less than he does and be grateful for what he has? Or should I be looking to those that have more than me and be trying to have more and accomplish more? So in this week's Torah portion, we learn an interesting story. Jacob, our forefather, travels to Haran and he meets a woman, Rachel. He decides to marry Rachel, but her father will not hear of it and tricks him into marrying Leah, the older sister, instead. And so Jacob lands up marrying Leah and then a while later marrying Rachel as well. And the story continues that Leah lands up having 4 sons from Jacob, and Rachel is left without any children. And at some point the Torah tells us that Rachel sees what her sister has and is jealous, tells us the Torah. And she says to her husband Jacob, "Give me children or I am considered to be dead." Now, let's think about this language of the Torah describing Rachel as a jealous person. The idea of jealousy is, of course, not an attribute or a character trait that we look to have. In fact, the ethics of our fathers, Pirkei Avot, tells us that kina, ta'ava, and kavod, jealousy, desires, and the pursuit of respect lead a person out of this world. And the question is, why is the Torah describing Rachel as jealous versus she had this natural desire, she had this burning desire to have children, of course, and seeing her sister having children and her not having had any doesn't make anything easier for her. We also know that Rachel was not the jealous type. In fact, the story that we just told a minute ago, where Jacob landed up marrying Leah first and Rachel second, was all thanks to Rachel helping Leah do that. In other words, the story goes that Jacob planned to marry Rachel. However, they were concerned that the father Lavan would trick and put Leah there instead. So Jacob and Rachel made up a code of what the code would be under the chuppah when they could not see one another. The code being the Hebrew name Chana, which is made up of 3 letters Chet, Nun, and Hey, which is an acronym for the 3 special mitzvot that a woman has. Chet stands for challah, the special bread, the mitzvah of taking challah that a woman has. The nun stands for nidah, the laws of family purity and a woman using the mikvah. And lastly, the hey stands for hadlakot neirot, the mitzvah of a woman lighting Shabbat candles. So they had this special code. When Rachel saw that her sister Leah was being put under the chuppah, was being put to be married against her will, she did not want her sister to be shamed, and so she gave her that code. So looking into Rachel's life, we see that she was not the jealous type. So why is the Torah using the strong language of Rachel being jealous of her sister Leah for having children, her not having kids? So there is a book written by the Rebbe called Hayom Yom, and it has a short entry for every single day. And in one of the days, the Rebbe writes a fascinating entry, and he says as follows: when it comes to physical things, we should look to those that have less than us and thank God for what we have. However, when it comes to spiritual things, we should look to those that have accomplished more than us and ask God for the wisdom and understanding to be able to accomplish more and reach higher heights in our spiritual pursuit. The idea of being jealous of somebody else reveals 2 things. First of all, it reveals who we truly are and what it is that we truly want. If I am jealous of somebody else for having a certain thing, this goes to show that that is who I am and what I really want. So when we are jealous of somebody else's spiritual accomplishments, this is a fantastic thing. This shows us, number 1, where we are, who we truly are, what it is that we desire. And number 2, it might shake us up and give us a little bit of motivation and encouragement to get there, to follow in their ways, and to try and push for higher heights. So in short, there's 2 different kinds of jealousy. Being jealous of somebody for physical matters, in which case we should look to those that have less than us and be happy with what we have. But when it comes to spiritual pursuits and spiritual accomplishments, we should look to those that have more than us, and we should feel jealousy in a positive way and try to get what they get. Wishing you all a superb Shabbat Shalom, and all the best.